Welcome to Wisdom on Wheels. Today we'll be getting to know Bishop John from the Antiochian Orthodox Christian Archdiocese of North America. So I'd like to start by thanking you for joining us on Wisdom on Wheels, this little video series the Assembly of Bishops is putting together for people to get to know their hierarchs better. I'll just start off by asking a little bit about Worcester and how you got here, a little bit more about the area and your ministry here.
Well, our diocese in Worcester had not had a bishop assigned, so they were being served by all of the bishops of the archdiocese and directly by the Metropolitan Philip from Englewood, New Jersey. But when we elected 3 new bishops, I was elected to come and serve in Worcester. Because I'm from New England, I had grown up knowing the parish and was even at the consecration of its cathedral while I was a high school student. So it's fun for me to be kind of back at home.
So you lead the Assembly of Bishops Mental Health Ministries. Can you tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to work on mental health?
When I was a very young priest, I had a really lousy week in the parish. Within a 10-day period, I had 4 people tell me that they had suicidal ideations. I had an old lady drink Drano to get her kids' attention. A person tell me that he loved his wife, didn't love his girlfriend, but couldn't leave his girlfriend for his wife. And still another person told me he thought he had a sexual addiction. As much as I tried, the only one that I could get to see a counselor was the person who thought he had a sex addiction. So I went back to school. In Pittsburgh at the time, there was a training program of the American Association of Pastoral Counselors. And so everybody in the program had at least a level of Master of Divinity degree and studied pastoral care. And we did actually much more work than a master's in pastoral care. I later kind of I picked up a doctorate of ministry in pastoral care, but that was just a fraction of the requirements of the other program. The other program took me about 7 years to complete, and served me very well, and served the people that I served very well. So I'm grateful for that. So I guess members of the Secretariat of the Assembly knew a little bit of my background, and so that's why I was assigned to that committee.
So you were a priest first, and then went into social work. That's amazing. A lot of people have that kind of first career and then go into the priesthood. What drew you to the priesthood?
Oh, I wanted to be a priest from the time I was 6. And I kept trying to run away from it, and I kept coming back. And so I'm one of those guys who felt the calling to serve God from a very, very young age.
Very nice. And you have you're a widower and you have a family, which
Yes.
is not unheard of, obviously, but it's quite special for a bishop to be in that position. How was your experience and how has your experience and your story impacted your ministry?
Well, I think to be a pastor, it's helpful to be able to get past yourself. And I don't think anything helps you grow up more than needing to take care of a wife and a family, particularly on cold evenings when the baby gets you out of bed at 2 a.m. and you're both exhausted. So I think that that's a very kind of family life, like monastic life, causes you to get past yourself and live for others and take care of others. I think that I was well served by having a family. Also, I think that parish ministry is very emotionally draining. We go from all kinds of highs and lows. We're with people for births, we're with people for as they die, and oftentimes in the same day we'll have a whole range of emotions. And to have a family to kind of give you something to balance out your life, something other than just the parish, I think is very helpful. I don't disparage those clergy that are by themselves in a parish, but I think it's much more difficult having lived both ways. So I would say that family life has served me both as a bishop and as a person.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Now, leave it to me to name the elephant in the room. The Antiochian Archdiocese is going through a transition right now, and during these turbulent times, people's faith is a little bit shaken, both within the Antiochian Church, but also cross-jurisdictionally. Can you share any wisdom that might help the average faithful Orthodox Christian not lose faith in the institutional church under these circumstances?
Well, our faith, put not your trust in princes and sons of men. Our faith needs to be in Christ and the Holy Spirit. And God uses everything to help us grow, to help us stretch, to help us come to Him, and so we need to understand that God's action in our lives is what's important, and the Church and God uses flawed, real human beings who make good choices and bad choices, who trust sometimes in the wrong people, who are still in flesh and have all the temptations that everybody else does, to show His love and His forgiveness and His presence with everybody. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of not be hero worshipers, instead worship God and love God and trust God, and so I think that's where we need to put our focus. Our metropolitan stepped aside rather than try to prove his innocence, and he maintains his innocence and did that for the life of the Church. If we're serving a bishop, we're making a mistake. We need to serve Jesus Christ. God is our source and our life and our inspiration. We can't put our trust in people. With that said, we encounter God in our relationships with each other, and we need to test everything and recognize what is comfortable and resonates in our hearts, because God is in us and dwells there. God can work through someone to give us something, even if that person doesn't have what God is giving us through them. I think we put too much emphasis on each other and not nearly enough emphasis on the action of the Holy Trinity in our lives all the time.
Absolutely. Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies. I guess the word magazine is my hobby. It takes up about 25 to 30 hours a month.
What magazine is that?
The Word magazine was started by St. Raphael, and it goes to all of the homes of the Antiochian Archdiocese members, and to it even goes to the Vatican and lots of theological libraries and such. It has a pretty wide distribution, and shares theology for real people in real time, if you will. So I like to play racquetball.
Okay.
And I had a Orthodox clergy league of racquetball players.
Wow.
And when I was in Pittsburgh, so I miss that, but I do have a trainer, and she changes my exercise routine every week. I guess those are hobbies.
That's great. Yeah, I was gonna say the first one. It's great when your work is also your hobby, and the second one is a more personal hobby. So that's amazing. Do you have a favorite television show or movie? Are you much of a TV watcher?
To be completely candid, when I do watch TV, I watch it to kind of shut my brain off and rest. So I couldn't tell you. I like NCIS and those kinds of police investigation stuff. Those are things that I find fun to watch, but when they're done, I've already forgotten their names or what they were about.
Sure. Are you a sports fan? Do you have any?
I'm not.
Teams you watch?
Our family had a small business and a hobby farm, and so if there was sunlight, it was family disloyalty to be watching television. We had 110 apple trees to trim and to spray, and to acres of land to cut grass on. It was a great way to grow up, but I missed engaging in sports.
I see. If you could have coffee with any saint, who would it be?
I'm doing some reading of Saint Sophrony these days, and I think that he would be fun to be with. He's from the lineage of Paisius and Simeon the Stylite and others. So that would be fun. That would be fun to have coffee with Sophrony of Essex.
Absolutely. Now, I know you like to cook. That's what I've heard. And
I don't like to cook. I like to eat.
You like to eat? Okay.
I like to eat.
Okay.
And so because I like to eat, I can do some cooking. My wife died of ovarian cancer. And so we had some time that she used to teach me to cook because she wanted me to be at least able to do a Thanksgiving meal and keep our family favorite dishes going, and so people are impressed. They're not so impressed that I cook. They're so impressed that a bishop can cook. So I can find my way around the kitchen these days.
What's your favorite dish to prepare?
Oh, eggplant with ground meat and pine nuts and onions and tomato sauce.
Okay.
Over rice.
Okay. Nice, very specific. I like that.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite food to eat also?
It is.
Okay.
It is, but the trick is pre-cooking the eggplant. You have to spray a little oil on the eggplant and bake it for 40 minutes so that it's nice and soft when it mixes with the other ingredients, and it's spiced with allspice.
Okay. I'll have to try that.
All right.
What's your greatest fear?
I think that today I can't identify a fear. Before becoming a bishop, I had recurring dreams of leading and not being followed.
I see.
And that's kind of fun. So so I would be out front and then realize that there was nobody behind me. But that hasn't happened. I've been blessed with very cooperative clergy, and recognize that really the job of the bishop is to support the clergy. If we can empower and support the clergy can take care of the people, and that's real Christian leadership. You know, in business they talk a lot about servant leadership, and of course that's Christ washing the feet of the disciples. We've had servant leadership forever. So while it's new for the business world, this is the example of Christ. If you want to lead, you gird yourself and you serve the people that you want to lead, and everything works well that way.
Wonderful. Is there any particular hymn that you especially like?
I like the hymn to the Theotokos of St. Nectarios, and O Lord of Hosts that we sing during Lent. Those are probably my favorites.
Is there anything else you'd want to share at this time? Anything you want to share with anyone that would help them get to know you better?
Well, I don't really think people need to get to know me. They need to get to know Christ. But together we can, every encounter for the clergyman and for the lay person, every encounter is an opportunity to encounter Christ. Everyone that we get to know gives us a new color or understanding of God, because each of us reflects God in a very unique way. And so if we just allow ourselves to be patient and curious, God can speak to us through, I think, every relationship. And so that's what I would recommend for folks.
Thank you for doing this today and for joining us.
Well, I've never done anything like this before, and so this has been a lot of fun. I have to admit that you piqued my curiosity when you told me about riding around and cameras and microphones and such. I found it to be a lot of fun.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just trying to keep things fresh over at the assembly.
Sure. Yeah, I think the assembly is an opportunity for us to all work together and know each other better, and I think that's essential, because none of us are Orthodox Christians by ourselves. We're all Christian in each other and with each other and for each other, and we're not in competition. Our ministry is the same, to witness to Christ in America, and the more we can support each other, I think the better.
Absolutely.